we have collaborated with them for 5-party logistics. And the medical center, which I discussed about, and the power electronics. So why Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? When you look at the statistics, 13% of the global trade passes through Red Sea. And access to rest of the world in less than 8 hours of flight time. So when you look at it, I know the chairs are hiding a bit on some of the key business indicators. I would tell you, someone is interested in mining, there's 1.3 trillion worth of opportunities and untapped reserves. And let's say you're interested in petrochemical. $100 billion worth of investment is planned by Aramco for the next 10 years. And let's say you're interested in arts, tourism, entertainment investments. $64 billion is what is planned. Healthcare, $224 billion is what is planned in the next 5 years in the public and private sectors. And I know there is someone discussing about logistics. I'm not going to get in deep. $150 billion is the transport and logistics investments expected by 2030. So all of you are going to tell me, you've got these fancy statistics. How do we validate that? And how do we work, right? So again, a little bit of statistics, and I'll get to how do we work part. So how do Saudi Arabia stand as we speak as of March 2025? The real GDP increased by 1.3% in 2024. This is due to an increase in non-oil activities by 4.3% and the government activities by 2.6%. The unemployment rate reached 7% compared to 7.8% in Q3 2024, which is reaching the Saudi Vision 2030 target. So which means they are able to generate more jobs because of the projects, and real projects are happening there, and a lot of people are getting employed. And the total unemployment rate is 3.5% as of Q4 2024 compared to 3.7 in Q3 2024. So here comes the interesting part. How many foreign companies are there as we speak? In Q4 2024, they had close to 4,500 companies registered in Saudi Arabia. This is just 2024 Q4, which is amounting to 14,000 new business licenses being issued in Saudi Arabia last year alone. So you're seeing the interest from rest of the world, and why not people from India? Why don't we be part of the ecosystem? So how do you be part of the ecosystem? I'm not sure many of you are aware of it. Saudi Arabia always allows 100% foreign ownership in majority of the sectors. There are selected sectors which they have restricted for security reasons, but majority of the sectors which LIBF community are present, you can establish 100% business under your own entity. You can open as a branch, LLC, or a joint stock company, whichever the structure prefers for you. So I'm ready to invest. What's next? All right. So I'm sure all of you have heard of Atmanirbhar Bharat in India. It's a very successful localization initiative. Even it is helping us grow in India, because after we focused in Saudi, now we are looking at India as the biggest market to grow. In Saudi, whatever you do, there is something called as a localization element. So localization is how much you're sourcing the goods and develop the production chains, how much of a services you're sourcing from the local market. There is also workforce improvement, how much you are employing Saudi nationals, and the R&D and capacity building of Saudi workers. Then you would say, I'm not able to access talented staff. You'd be surprised. The Saudi nationals are very much knowledgeable on par, and people who we communicate with, they are staying updated with what is happening in terms of technology, what is happening in any sector when you approach them. So, all right, so what's next? So they've come up with the localization program. So when we say localization program, I'm sure all of you have phones. If you're able to Google for Saudi Aramco's IKTVA program, IKTVA, you would see various opportunities published. No, I think they're fine. So you'd see various opportunities published. So you go to the website and you're able to see, let's say you're from an oil field services market. So just for 2024, they publish what are the areas which they're trying to target. And then what are the key drivers? And then what are the opportunities in IT? The reason I'm not delving deep into it, I'm able to only give you a snapshot is because of the time. So I'll still tell you how you can approach them. So when you approach, so they've very clearly laid out what is their plan. This to achieve 70% localization in all their spendings. So where do they stand as we speak? The target was to achieve 70% by 2025. As we speak, there are 67% of total locally sourced. So let's say if they are spending $1 billion, they are able to source 67% locally. So what does that mean locally? There are several anchor projects, there are several local workforce development initiatives, business opportunities published. And how do you work with them? So let's say you wanted to set up a manufacturing plant. The Saudi Industrial Development Fund is able to finance up to 75% depending on the area of your manufacturing plant. They are able to give you tax incentives and exemptions and sometimes up to 50% tax credit on Saudi nationals' payroll and training costs for the next 10 years. There are special economic zones and industrial zones which are specialized in logistical services. Let's say if you would like to set up an export infrastructure, you could set up there. And then there is a zero import duties for localization of raw materials, machinery, and equipment. So these are some of the localization initiatives support what Saudi government is offering. It's an extract from Aramco's Iktiva page. And also for the visa and legal support in case if you need, they're helping the Ministry of Investment Saudi Arabia is the regulatory body who are supporting with various, the support whatever you need to set up a company. So let's say I would like to focus on a utility space. When you look at Saudi Electricity Company, they're the largest integrated electricity provider in the MENA region. So which means there is one entity who you are working with. And when you look at the localization initiatives, close to 650 national factories and more than 7,000 local suppliers and contractors, they've procured the product. And when you look at the transmission lines, 99,000 kilometers, 56 gigawatt is what they've generated. And then the smart meters, close to 11 million smart meters being rolled out, and new customers close to 500,000 has been added. So what has that got to do with me? Again, where are they planning to go? This is where they are. Their vision for 2030 is up to 160,000 kilometers of lines, which is on the transmission, 1,650 substations. Many of you are interested in energy storage systems, so when you look at it, the target is 48 gigawatt hour batteries to be connected to the grid by 2030. And then again, the distribution targets are again on the same lines. They're trying to increase as we speak. And again, the published report. So again, there are incentives. You are interested to set up. Each of these entities have a localization enabler department who would work with you, who would handhold you, who would support you with market insights. And there is also an opportunity where you could be part of their preferred procurement list if you're able to meet the requirements. And again, there is export incentives. So if you are exporting to the rest of the world, the Saudi Exim Bank is supporting with capital. And there is localization purchase agreements, some of them going up to 5 to 8 years, and Aramco goes up to 10 years of localization. So you have guaranteed business there. So which means when you're visualizing, you have a visibility, let's say to 5 to 8 years if that product falls under the long-term procurement agreement. And then again, bulk supply agreements, financing support. All right, so heading to renewables. So as we speak, 20 gigawatt is what is being tendered annually categorizing the localization. And 26 gigawatt in different development stages, and 48 gigawatt is what is to be achieved. What are the products which are available, what they intend to localize? They would like to set up a solar inverter localization, which is a local production plant. PV modules and components, the biggest challenge is how do you compete with Chinese? Again, this is a competitiveness. If you're part of the ecosystem, there are ways how you can work with the ecosystem. And then mounting structures, and when you look at the wind products localization, you'll be surprised. They in fact localized a wind turbine in Saudi Arabia, which is in Dammam. So that is the level of localization effort which they're getting at. So there are the support structures which can be localized. So where do they stand? Again, if you look at end of 2024, close to 10 plus substations have been energized, and close to 41 gigawatt is what is already planned for 2027. And you're talking about 6.6 gigawatt already interconnected and energized as end of 2024. Companies like L&T are pretty active. There are many other opportunities because this is a paramount importance there, because it's part of the national strategy to power up the grid with renewables. Approximate generation right now is 60 gigawatt, if I'm not mistaken. So they want to replace it with renewable energy. And these are the plants which are planning to be connected. Again, heading to mining. I know someone who was interested in mining. So the exploration phase of in the mining sector, they come up with new incentives because after the research they identified there is 2.5 trillion worth of mining potential in Saudi Arabia, especially in the metallic and non-metallic space. They've categorized different regions as precious metals, base metals, shield industrial minerals and rocks, flood ballast industrial minerals, coastal plain industrial minerals. And what are they planning for the year 2025? These 50,000 kilometer exploration license area to be auctioned. Sites with commodities like gold, silver, copper, quartz, iron and tin will be offered. And again, you can work with the Ministry of Industry and Minerals. They've got exploration enablement programs, several incentives. You can communicate with them and be part of this opportunity. Anyone operating in the defense space, I'm sure you would also know that Saudi Arabia is one of the largest buyer in terms of defense procurement. So when you look at the target what they have, at close to 2023, they've achieved close to 20% as localization. And their target is to have 50% of government spending on military equipment and services by 2030. How would they achieve that? So any international contractors who are venturing to Saudi market, they have to work with the local manufacturers. So if you're ready and geared up to meet the international companies, let's say for example, you have in India, you have a manufacturing setup, you're already meeting the requirements through India, you can set up a manufacturing or a services entity here. These companies would directly work with you because you're already part of the system. Let's say you're not part of the system, it's some capability which you wanted to build. These contractors or companies are mandated to work with you to develop plans for delivering the military localization. So that's the level of support which even the companies, international companies are offering, and that's how they are able to achieve the localization. So what kind of financing options are available through the Saudi Industrial Development Fund? You have a project, you would like to localize. There is project finance, there is multi-purpose loan. Let's say you would like to acquire a company, there is also acquisition finance. And then what happens is when you set up, there is often shortage of working capital because sometimes some projects you are unable to support when you set up right in the beginning because there could be large tender requirements and all of that. So short-term financial and operational expenses are all being supported. There is also supply chain financing. So I'm sure all of you are aware of the bill discounting. So there is a fintech-enabled platform working with SIDF for supply chain financing. So anyone who is interested in fintech, again, there's a big opportunity. And all of these, let's say, receivables are guaranteed by different government projects, or even majority of them are supported for government initiatives. So it's always secured, majority of the time. And then the letter of credit, and they have different programs aligned with the national priorities. So let's say, for example, you have an initiative which is under the national priorities. They have different programs to enable that. One more slide about the giga projects, but I think on the interest of time, I'm concluding. Our theme for this year was future focused 2025. One of the main reason being, we need to stay ahead of the curve. So we wanted to be part of the ecosystem. So our theme is future focused. Anyone would like to learn more about the opportunities in Saudi Arabia, I'm available to be reached here. Or let's say you would like to do your own research. You can get into websites like Invest Saudi, select your sectors, you would get to know what are the enablers. Pick up the phone, give a call to the helpline. There would be representatives assigned to support you. Let's say you're interested in healthcare. Again, connect with Ministry of Investment Saudi Arabia. They will be able to guide you for different sectors, whichever the sectors they are. So happy to be part of this LIBF forum, and thank you so much for accommodating us, and wishing you the very best, and thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarfaraz Muhammad and Dr. Siddiq Ahmed, for such inspirational information for growth and progress for LIBF and all the Lohanas. Requesting Dr. Siddiq to please come on the stage with us. Requesting President and Director LIBF, Mr. Satish Vitlani and Vijay Karya, and Mr. Ashok to please come and felicitate. Shri Ashok Bhai Kotecha, Shri Satish Bhai Vitlani and Shri Vijay Bhai Karya will felicitate our first and a very respectable speaker, Dr. Siddiq Ahmed, and Mr. Sarfaraz Muhammad, Director, Corporate Development and Partnership, Iram Holdings, Saudi Arabia. Everybody put your hands together and let's felicitate him. This is our immense pleasure to have such a speakers and such a dignitaries over here in this Euro Exim Bank LIBF GCC Calling 2025, presented by Winmart and powered by APM Capital. These distinguished speakers are from Saudi Arabia, and it is our immense pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much. લોહાણા તરીકે અને એક રઘુવંશી તરીકે એક ગૌરવ લેવા જેવી બાબત છે કે વિશ્વના આ ખૂણામાં અહીંયા આવીને અહીંયાના જે લોકલ જે મહાનુભાવો છે એમના ખભે આપણે આપણા જય રઘુવંશની આ શોલ અર્પણ કરીને એવું અભિવાદન કરીએ છીએ, એક કનેક્ટ કરીએ છીએ. એ ખરેખર ખૂબ જ અદ્ભુત વાત છે. સૌ લોહાણાઓ માટે એક ગૌરવની વાત છે. નાઉ મે આઈ invite on the stage Mr. Muhammad Farhan Qazi, Commercial Director, BAFCO Bafco International Shipping and Logistic Company. Actually, his father started the logistic business in Saudi 30 years ago, and unfortunately, he couldn't join this conference today. So his son, Muhammad Farhan Qazi, is here with us, requesting him to please come on the stage. Mr. Farhan Qazi, Director, Bafco International Shipping and Logistics.
While we wait for the pointer, I'll introduce myself. Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all of you. It's wonderful to be here representing Bafco International. Unfortunately, my father and the chairman of the company couldn't be present here, but I'll take the honor of taking it forward. A heartiest congratulations to the LIBF forum completely. I mean, what you have done, from what I understood from the people around here, is fantastic. And special thank you to Mr. Ashok Kotecha for having me here. And the presentation predominantly will lead you through on the trade lanes that Saudi Arabia currently transacts with, what's the opportunities that are happening in Saudi Arabia from a logistics perspective. Okay, perfect. From a logistics perspective, and what can we do to align and synergize in that market. So we will focus firstly on the kind of potential that is currently in Saudi Arabia. The current value of services that are being rendered in the Saudi market is close to about $31 billion. And that's a huge market. And the compounded annual growth over the last 4 years has been a staggering 5.5%. In the logistics space, a lot of alignment has been done with global companies, with the port infrastructure, and that is what is driving all of this going forward. So the key fundamental for it to grow forward are two subjects, that is infrastructure development and sustainability. Both are going hand in hand. Our fellow friend, Mr. Sarfraz, threw light on what kind of energy projects are currently being handled in Saudi Arabia, and that is what is keeping the momentum very strong within the kingdom. The government's focus also aligns with the initiatives which are being taken in the market. There are a lot of initiatives which we will discuss in detail in the slides ahead. So where does Saudi Arabia do a lot of imports business? When we compare the statistics of 2024, China, US predominantly are spearheading the imports market into Saudi with key commodities like nuclear, machinery, and you have pharmaceutical products as well. India holds about 5% trade value currently with Saudi Arabia, and GCC still has a very big share of its own market with Saudi Arabia. A lot of it is also to do with the fact that GCC markets predominantly give you the downward streams of the projects and the products that Saudi Arabia manufactures. When it comes to exports, again, GCC becomes the hub area for the major exports that happen, followed by China and then India as well. Let us deep dive into some macroeconomics of the geography that we represent Saudi Arabia for. You have a very good stability in terms of foreign currency. It is standardized for $1 is 3.75 Saudi riyal, and we see a steady population growth in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The value of air freights into Saudi Arabia is something that is really bringing the key value of investments in key segments of business like pharmaceutical, in neuro, and this is what is driving the key airports in Saudi Arabia as well to connect with the European markets, with Latin America, with Indian subcontinent far more better. As of now, as we speak, it gives employment to close to about 1.3 million different jobs in the space of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia alone. Close to about 700,000 metric tons of cargo was handled in Saudi Arabian airports. It currently stands at about 30th rank in the air cargo market. Going into the seaports, Jeddah Islamic Port is the flagship port for Saudi Arabia, which handles predominantly the cargo which is being transshipped around the world, as well as key exports from the western province of Saudi Arabia. You have facilities for all kind of vessels being handled in Jeddah Islamic Port. Dammam Port predominantly drives the petrochemical business of Saudi Arabia. A lot of it is to do with the fact that on the eastern coast, for the imports of India, for the imports of China or the Southeast Asian ports, the key port being targeted is Dammam because of lesser transit times. These are the two new ports which are being very, very strategic in nature, that is Yanbu and Jubail. Both of them have similar characteristics which were predominantly driving the petrochemical, tanker business, oil business into Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But as we see that Yanbu and Jubail both are progressing into commodities other than oil, which is actually very important considering the current ecosystem of how shipping is working. You always need to have alternative arrangements to move your cargo. The economic trade in general perspective, there is a lot of boost for maritime. and job creation, which my friend Sarfaraz also happened to touch base on. And all of it with a single line goal of Vision 2030 of how they need to achieve certain key parameters of economic growth. What brings Saudi Arabia on the global map? The strategic location of Saudi Arabia within key proximity to African market, to European market, and even to the extent of going US East Coast. A lot of business that Saudi Arabia does with the US East Coast, you will be shocked to hear that the services of sea routing originating from China or even from India, they actually spot once in Jeddah and then they move towards US East Coast. So when we as logistics player, we compete for our Saudi exports, we see that a lot of times we are able to compete with the Indian manufacturers only because the service routing to US East Coast goes through Jeddah Islamic Port, which is actually giving you a competitive edge in terms of getting competitive to your end user. When it comes to the future of supply chain, the key initiative, which is the Saudi-made initiative, these days in Saudi Arabia, you will see a lot of made in Saudi Arabia products. Not a lot of you might know this, but even the southern part of Saudi Arabia called Jizan has its own farms for papaya and banana, which was something that was very astonishing because a lot of it used to be predominantly being imported. There is a lot of aqua farming being done in the northern part of Jeddah in a company called National Aquaculture Company, which is currently the largest company in the world doing sea farming and prawn farming, and that is being currently exported all over the world. A lot of it also is being done by Ministry of Transport and Logistics Services with a lot of different initiatives, a lot of streamlining of activities, a lot of platforms with regard to FASA and other things which have streamlined and organized the sector to a large extent. Now we will touch base on certain countries on what they are trading with and how we need to improve or what we need to look at when we want to set up our base probably in Saudi Arabia. When it comes specifically to India, food commodity is still the key area of trade between India and Saudi, where rice, spices, you have meat, you have dairy products being exchanged on both corridors. Africa. The strategic advantage to Saudi Arabia is also the key access to ports in the African subcontinent in entirety. The services that Saudi Arabia caters to this region is very advanced in comparison to the other regions, only because there are direct services moving in from Saudi Arabia into, let's say, your Sudan, your Egypt, you have North Africa, you have southern part of Africa, which again gives you a competitive edge when you want to trade, when you want to manufacture and sell it into these regions. Now, if we see a key element of what Saudi Arabia has been doing with them as well, is to invest themselves into these regions in logistics space to allow more flexibility of the exporters sitting in Saudi Arabia. Like we see that in Djibouti alone, they have taken a lot of initiatives and taken 100 key investors of Saudi Arabia to set up their bases and to expand their business through Djibouti port into other regions. For Kenya perspective, the trade is about $1 billion. We have commodities, which is petroleum and mining. Mining is going to be the second flagship for Saudi Arabia with their entity called Ma'aden. With India, they are tying up with companies like Vedanta, Hindustan Zinc. Before, they used to export raw sand, and now we see that they have gone into refining process. They have tied up for aluminium with a company in US called Alcoa. So from being core producer of bare ore, they are now getting into refined metals, which is actually an opportunity for people sitting out of India, because a lot of mining is also done back in India. So a lot of technology requirement is currently available in Saudi Arabia. And when it comes to exports from Kenya into Saudi Arabia, it's predominantly tea and flowers. Flowers are predominantly coming all air freight into India, Saudi Arabia. Egypt holds a very key trade between Saudi and Egypt because of the cargo value dollar fluctuation which Egypt traditionally has been having. And this has led to a lot of opportunities sitting out of Saudi Arabia because the dollar fluctuation impact is not there in Saudi, and they tend to manufacture at a very, very competitive price and then export it to Egypt. There's a lot of trade happening to Sokhna, to Alexandria. A lot of these places then get involved into further selling into the entire North African belt. So what makes Saudi Arabia a global logistics powerhouse? It is still not there, but it's definitely going up the rankings. As we speak, they are now number 6 on the agility index, which used to be around 11th and 12th. They are ranked number 17th in the World Bank Logistics. Earlier years, they used to be 25, 26. And now they are the 15th largest container handler globally. This figure, until 2 years back, it used to be 31 and 30. So you can see there's a big shift in terms of what Saudi Arabia has been doing in terms of logistics arrangement. And we very well understand that without logistics being aligned with the manufacturers also will not be able to produce more and efficiently give their products to the other countries in the world. What can we do for you? I mean, given the opportunity for representing LIBF, we started our journey in the year 1990, and we have offices across the kingdom. We operate 12 warehouses of our own trucking. In Saudi Arabia alone, we employ about 750 people only in the logistics and shipping space. We are the first company which got registered with SAGIA for the logistics business back in the year 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where the journey started in terms of how we expanded being a foreign investor. What are the different service portfolio that we offer? We offer ocean, air, projects, 3PL, NVOCC, ISO tank. We do a lot of pharma business. For them, we offer complete solution in terms of storage, packaging, temperature control. BAFCO Saudi Arabia's biggest strength in Saudi is because of the infrastructure that we control affiliated to the logistics and the shipping space. All of it with the state-of-art equipment, with key expertise in critical elements of logistics. We have close to about 228,000 square meter of land across the kingdom. Our current potential is to stack containers up to 50,000 containers at any given point of time. We cover East and West Coast both. Even in Riyadh, we see a lot of requirement of interim storage for large shipments that are coming in bulk. Our own trucking, we have 148 trucks of our own, close to about 200 trips that we have to render through third-party arrangement to facilitate the movement within the kingdom. Air freight, again, we make our own consolidation to export or import into Saudi Arabia. A lot of imports are being done through air freight channel because of the tendency of the product or because of the requirement of time sensitivity of the cargo. Some key elements of our customer base that we have, like Ma'aden, we were talking about, we are associated with them since they started the potassium plant back probably 10, 12 years back. And we cater to their complete export channel, including the bags. We work very closely with SABIC, with Zamil, with National Petrochemical, Ball, which manufacture empty cans, Ruwad Plastic, Cheminol, which manufactures chemicals. We work with FMCG giants like Bindaud. We are associated with Saudi Arabian Glass Company and Nahdi Pharmaceutical amongst the wider portfolio of customers that we have. In the Saudi Arabian market, we are the only player to be registered under the WACO network, which gives the privilege to a lot of customers to do the custom clearance in Saudi Arabia. We have our own FMC license, which allows you to trade directly with the United States of America using the FMC bond that we currently hold. All in all, wanted to keep it very concise considering the time that we had. That's my contact details. Should you require any assistance in Saudi Arabia for any perspective of logistics, shipping, even for that matter, Sagya. We work very closely with them for all our ventures. So I'll be more than happy to network out with you. I'll be here through the day. And thank you once again. The entire LIBF community will stay in touch, and all the best to you all.
Great, really. Thank you, Mr. Farhan Kazi. Please stay with us. Please stay back. Requesting Mr. Satish Vitnani, Mr. Vijay Karya, and Mr. Ketan Vaishak and Shri Ashok Bhai Kotecha. Please be with us on the stage. Such a young and confident speaker he is. Everybody, please put your hands together for Mr. Farhan Kazi. Please, Chetan Chak, sir, join us to felicitate a young and dynamic speaker in LIBF GCC Calling. This is rightly said. Jai Jalaram. The Saudi's future. The connection with. Yes, this young man is here with us for entire day. For any kind of consultation or any kind of inquiry, you can connect him. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Farhan Kazi. Great to have you here. Thank you, Mr. Kazi. Now, may I invite Attorney Manal Jihad Salman, Senior Legal Consultant, Head of Corporate, Sport, Entertainment and Investment Law Firm of Majid Garoob. Ma'am, please come on the stage. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk to you about the vision, the law, and the opportunity of Saudi Arabia. My name is Manal. I'm a lawyer and I'm an athlete. So I will ask you voluntarily to enjoy my introduction. Let me start with a question, please. If I told you there's a country transforming faster than any nation on earth, if I told you that it's turning desert into digital, sand into silicon, heritage into horizon, would you believe it? Proudly, it's Saudi Arabia. Before Vision 2030, many heard the word Saudi Arabia and they thought it's oil, camels, horseback riding, culture, tradition, desert. What it is Saudi Arabia? We have no idea. Now I can invite you all to hear that it is Saudi Arabia's innovation, is opportunity and is ambition. We are not rejuvenating ourselves. We are rediscovering our greatness and reshaping it for the new era. We have a great nation that is working hand in hand to achieve these opportunities and to transform it to the full world. The vision, yes, it changed everything. Vision 2030, it was not just a strategy. It is a national awakening. It is the moment we said, we will not wait for the future. We will build it by our own hands. And so we begin, redefining what's possible. We opened our economy, elevated our private sector, launched giga projects that the world hadn't seen yet, and rewrote our laws and welcomed the world in.